Just for clarification, that is not me. That is one of the people that I've had the course with. All right. Hello, Millbrook. Many of you might not know me, which is understandable. I don't have the charisma and smile of a light-skinned man such as Chris Diaz. I am not abnormally tall like Lucius Gibson Salvador, and I am not like Liam Kennelly, who every time he steps on the stage, people will scream his name out constantly. But I don't have Millbrook spirit like Eliza Withers Clark, or I have bulging muscles that enthrall me to flex every chance I get like Justin Galarza. And I'm not talented in the creative arts like Henry Stafford and Lucy Lee, but I'm John Almazo, a current sixth former, and I was awarded the Founders Prize of 2022. The Founders Prize is given annually to a fifth former who displays, and I quote, an enthusiasm for life's challenges, a creative and innovative spirit, and a commitment to community and team play. Along with the prize, the selected fifth former is given a scholarship to the National Outdoor Leadership School, where he or she is given the choice of doing an outdoor course such as backpacking, rafting, etc. Fortunately and unfortunately, I was chosen for the Founders Prize. Although I was thrilled to be the recipient, I was swiftly reminded I had to go outdoors and give a talk to you guys, sadly. The outdoors... I forgot this to say. Oh. All right. The outdoors. A kid who grew up in the Harlem Projects, 545 West 126th Street, going hiking and camping. The closest thing I've been in nature is taking a walk around Central Park. But even then, that doesn't count because of the hot dog stands that lurk every corner. Out of place, like a pigeon wandering around any other place other than the city. How would a kid like me survive the outward bound course? Well, I couldn't. So I decided to try and limit my exposure to nature by signing up for a week-long course rather than a 2 to 3 week one. So during B-Block, U.S. History, shout out Mr. Harlan, I went on the Outward Bound website and looked for a course. I went backpacking, rafting, even rock climbing, but I was too late. The majority of the week-long courses were filled up, and the only available ones were the 14 to 16-year-old group, which unfortunately I was above the age range. But I decided to sign up for it anyways. I filled out the questionnaire, submitted my paperwork, and waited to submit my payment. But 10 minutes later, I received an email to confirm my age, and my plans were foiled. So I decided to act fast and sign up for the next best thing, a course that would take 2 weeks, which is where I chose the Colorado Outward Bound School. There. All right, sick. This was the first, After getting the clothes, equipment, and supplies, and submitting my payment for the course, I was off to Colorado. This was the first time I was traveling without my parents. Did I feel scared? Yes, but not due to the fact that I was flying alone, but due to the fact that I was going to spend 2 weeks in the woods. A little heads up. I'll get this right. All right. A little heads up. The Outward Bound School is notorious for no showers along the course, a.k.a. being musty, no electronics, spending 2 weeks with a random group of people, and isolation from food. But despite these cons, it is guaranteed an unforgettable experience. Once I arrived, I saw the big blue banner that said Outward Bound and saw the many kids that applied to the same course as me. I signed in and sat texting my parents as much as I can before my device was taken away. I saw the flights to New York City, picturing myself at the end of this course, returning home to my family. My daydream was suddenly interrupted by the calling to hop in the car that would drive us toward our destination. I put headphones on to calm myself. 2 hours later, we reached our destination, the Colorado Outward Bound School, where we were greeted with food and greeted with big green backpacks, which would become our best friends over the course. After finishing the meal, we were instructed to pack our bags, clothes, sunscreen, helmet, and all the necessities we needed. And that was the start of the 2 weeks in Colorado. Sick. I think it's... All right, sick. The first 2 days, we settled at our campsite where we set up camp in our tents. At first, my group was distant from each other. No one talked to each other, besides one kid who tried to be friends with everyone. Each of us did our own thing. Some lay in the sun, others read, and some played frisbee, which was robbed by one other person. Yeah, this is the food I ate. It's not very appealing. So yeah, we'll go left to right here. The one all the way here is the youngest. His name is Oscar. We call him Og because he was like the most experienced out of all of us. And if you know the Og from TikTok, he's very experienced with food. The second guy is Austin. He's like the Captain America of our group. If you never took this super soldier serum, but he was like their leader of our group. Next one is Joseph. He was just a regular guy. Next is Malcolm. He was like the loose cannon of our group. Adam, the logical one. Graham, the Hulk. He was like the muscle, but without the brain. Owen, he was always good to talk to. You have me. And then you have Dylan, the chef. So yeah. So the hope of enjoying this course seemed dim until our instructor, Brian, called us all of us, in his tent where we were instructed to share something we regret in our lives. After a solid 10 minutes of silence, Brian decided to go first, speaking of his ignorance and avoidance towards his grandmother when he was young. To my surprise, I started to tear up, although I tried to put it in the back of my mind. Hearing Brian's story reminded me of my story with my great-grandmother, and it allowed me to share my story and burst into more tears. After my story, everyone else opened up as well, and the same thing happened after each story. People burst into tears, hugged each other, and patted each other on the back. Although we cried just enough to fill a 23 fluid-ounce Arizona bottle, we were much closer than before. We started a bond, talking about the music we like, played a 4v4 of Ultimate Frisbee, but good things always come to an end. This was after the crying session, so we just decided lay down for a bit. All right. But good things come to an end. 2 days later, one of the kids twisted their ankle when hiking, causing him to be driven back to the airport and onto a plane back home. Another had back problems before coming on this expedition, and due to the 50-pound bags that we constantly held for 3 hours and for 3 days straight, his bag gave out and was sent back home. With the loss of 2 members, our morale was low, but our determination grew. We asked if they could sign a deodorant that we would take with us as memory of them. Let's see, which you could see there. And a day after, we headed out to our second campsite behind a cliff, which meant rock climbing. On the survey, I remember answering a question about my experience with rock climbing, and I wrote in all caps, no experience at all, meaning I was expecting a beginner's level of rock climbing, or intermediate at best. Once we started, the first hour of climbing was simple: grab a rock, step on rock, and advance. Oh. There. Yeah. Once we started, everyone was enjoying themselves, talking, admiring the view every 20 minutes, and just enjoying the climb. But once we reached the halfway mark, our instructors came to a stop. Came to a stop. The look on my instructor's, Yvonne's face, said it all, which is right there, the one all the way to the left. The look on her face said it all. We came to a stop, and Brian and Yvonne discussed whether or not we should proceed because we would be entering where talus, aka rocks, were falling, and the climb would be much steeper. They decided we advance, which in my mind was not the best idea. Everyone's demeanor changed, the talks became silence, and enjoyment became concentration. Taking the steepness of the mountain and the constant rocks that rained above us, our instructors thought the wiser choice would be to go back down and figure out another route to the second site. Blinded by my happiness to be getting down this steep mountain, I forgot about the gaps between the rocks and got caught in one of them, which you could see at the bottom right. I forgot about the gaps. I felt distraught. I got caught in one of them, bending my knee inward and injuring myself. I felt distraught for a reason I did not understand. Did I not want to leave this place and go back home? Did I really like it here? Or was the feeling of not completing the Founder's Prize dragging my consciousness into this state? That was for me to figure out later. In the meantime, I was told to slide down my way, resulting in a tear in my pants, but none of that mattered. I would show the tear, but it's in a place that's not very appropriate. So, at the bottom of the cliff, I was given the option of leaving and heading home the next day, or staying with the group and everyone going at my pace. Despite my feeling of wanting to go home, there were some drawbacks. Hearing Mr. Downs' voice saying an enthusiasm for life changes, I hated it. I wasn't enthusiastic at all. I was kind of relieved that I injured myself, but at the same time, I wanted to live up to the expectation everyone thought of me. The Founder's Prize is given to those who rise up to the challenge. I hated that. I wanted to take the easy way out, but at the same time, as I said, Mr. Downs' voice was in the back of my mind, and I couldn't do so. And also, my parents would have to pay for a plane ride back and pick me up. And knowing them, they'd be more mad spending money on the ticket than me getting injured, so I decided to stay. Did I regret it? Yes. I did not understand why I was so hesitant to leave or stay, and I disliked it. I hated the feeling of being so determined to stay and complete all 15 days without showering of the outward bound course. But I did. And did it work out fine? Yes. I grew stronger bonds with my friends on the course, did my solo where it was hailing, and had to sleep with a helmet just in case my tent caved in. As our final challenge, we hiked Mount Massive, which is not an easy feat, and lasted about 7 hours. There. As you can see, it's 14,429 feet in elevation, which is crazy. But yeah, like I said, we hiked from midnight and for 7 hours up and down. So that's 14 hours. We just kept hiking, and I didn't like it. So yeah, although I didn't get the ending of going back home early, I did have a much better ending. I was able to grow with my people, and despite me hating the idea of growing, I also grew as a person. I never thought in a million years that I would be so determined to do something. Rather, throughout my life, I've always taken the easy way out. But thanks to Mr. Downs, and thanks to all the faculty who voted for me to win this prize, I was able to grow as a person. I might not be a leader like everyone else, but in my eyes, I do my fair share. I don't have a cheesy life lesson or anything, but I would love to give my thanks to Ms. Hardy for squeezing me in last minute. I'm sorry. I should have been more on top of that. The faculty for providing me this opportunity, and my parents for praying for my safety back home every night. Thank you all for listening, and have a good rest of your day.